two questions. First of all, how's your dad doing? Because I got a chance to know them extremely well when you guys we were here together, and I always saw him at a hotel or had, when we had an event, I had sat down with dinner with them and really enjoyed him, and we kind of talked to each other on social media. But is he doing okay?
He's doing great. Still living out in San Diego. I think he wants to eventually get out to Florida where we are, but he lives in San Diego. He's doing awesome. Gets to see his grandkids quite often. So, yeah, he's great. It'll definitely appreciate you reaching out and saying hello also.
Yeah, definitely going to do that. Well, here in Tuscaloosa, the biggest conversation is the quarterback position. Three guys right now in the running to be the starter for Alabama. And I know people are freaking out and going crazy and saying that Alabama doesn't have a chance because they don't have a quarterback, especially if Jalen Milroe is that guy. People think Ty Simpson has a higher ceiling. And then you got a transfer in Tyler Buckner from Notre Dame, who's here as well. So you've competed. You understand that. You played for Nick Saban and his thoughts on quarterbacks. What can you tell the fans about this type of situation? Because you've been in it yourself.
Yeah, I mean, just transparently, I think one thing to kind of look at from a fan's perspective is know that you're in good hands. I mean, when you consider the current locker room state and the quarterbacks that you guys have, the story is one that it's been for quite some time now, where you've got three guys in the locker that are fully capable of starting at pretty much any university and all throughout the country. And I know that can sometimes lead to panic or uncertainty, but I think that's one thing that's great, is to know that all those guys are capable of making a difference on the field. With that being said, everyone may have different strengths, but that's also going to help breed a great competition throughout camp going into the season. Everyone, not only competing but learning from one another. Each guy is so talented. Ty obviously is a guy that stands out as a possible guy to come in and make a difference. Tyler Buckner, actually, I trained with him back when he was in high school before he was going to Notre Dame out in California, and I remember seeing him well before college and knowing that he was fully capable of making a difference at a Division I program. And then obviously Jalen at the end performed very well last year against A&M, extremely dynamic. All those guys just, in my mind, have that it factor. So I know it may be a cause of concern being that it's a competition, but they're in good hands. Obviously the staff is going to put them in positions to succeed.
Blake, when you're going through that battle, right, how difficult is it if you're the guy that's not named the starter? How difficult is it for you to remain supportive and to support that guy, knowing that, you also wanted that job? Because as we both know, quarterback, there's really only one guy that can play. And you got the backup who can come in, but, it's not like, defensive ends where I had the luxury of rotating in or going in on third downs and still being able to play. So how difficult, if you are the guy that doesn't win out, you don't win the job, how difficult is it to stay and support that guy knowing that he basically he beat you out for that job?
Well, you probably asked the perfect question to the perfect person. I mean, there's no secret as to what exactly happened in my time at Alabama. Obviously, looking back, the decisions that I made were not ones that I'm necessarily proud of. With that being said, looking at how my life is now and how fortunate I am, I don't say that I regret it. But with that being said, not necessarily the best decisions that were made as a young man. But obviously, as my transition happened from Alabama going to Arizona State, I was put in the same exact position twice, right, where things look good until fall camp, and then first game comes around and you're not the guy. It was so fundamental to my development as a young man, and then, obviously becoming a father, to go through both of those processes, making a bad decision, and then at Arizona State, the same thing happening, and having to be the best teammate I possibly can, making sure that I immerse myself in practice every day, give the defense the best look that they possibly can have, as well as continue to compete with the starter, right? Being valuable to him and make sure that he stays on his toes, because he needs to, feel the pressure behind him, even if he is the guy. So, like I said, I had a very unique process. It's one that is no secret in the realm of Tuscaloosa, but I'm very fortunate for the mistakes that I've made and the lessons that I've learned. And I think one thing nowadays with the vulnerability of transfer portal and, a guy shuffling around is the decision that you think may be best for you is obviously not going to be best for the team at certain times. And being an asset and being valuable to your team as a contributor is something that I think is going to pay dividends, not only for them now in college, but life after football.
Well, no, I appreciate your transparency there. But let's give you your flowers, man. No, I mean, look, coming out against USC, people forget, though, you played a good game, right? You still, if you look at the stats, you still played a good game, right? So I wouldn't, don't beat yourself up too much. But no, I think that's awesome that you're able to look back and to realize that was fundamental for your growth and development, and ultimately translated to you being a much better person and even a better father. I know there's a lot of things that I've learned on my football journey through the ups and the downs that I can also, correlate to where I'm at now in life as well. And, you mentioned it, you have been at multiple schools. So what would your thoughts be with all these rules, with the transfer portal and the NIL space in college football right now? What are your thoughts on the transfer portal? As a guy that's played at several schools, are you for it? Do you think it's good for guys, or do you think it's bad?
It really depends on how you look at it. I mean, I think there's so many factors that contribute to the chaos. It really depends on how you look at a team. So, I remember my true freshman year when I redshirted, that team was so culturally sound. The accountability amongst everyone was it was understood, it was accepted, and everyone was held to a certain standard. I know the word like brotherhood always gets thrown around in football. And truthfully, looking back at all the years that I played football, like that was one of those times where everyone just seemed to be in sync. Even when people had their indifferences, the accountability was always there because the expectations needed to be met. So with that being said, I don't quite know if college football is the same thing nowadays or if it's treated more as a business. I'm not in the locker rooms as I once was, but from an exterior perspective, it seems like every university is a little bit different in how they're operating each team, where some are heavily predicated on the relationship aspect and being there for your brother. And some of them are, what have you done for me lately? I need you to be a businessman in this situation. And that may result in you not being the starter. So it allows for so much wiggle room that, it went from strict rules, you can't do this, no exceptions, to kind of a free reign nowadays. And when a transition happens that dramatically, that quickly, it's going to lead to uncertainty.
Wow. I mean, good stuff, man. I know you're busy, you're a father and got a lot of stuff going on training quarterbacks, but I'll leave you with this. This is not a question, just something I just caught that you said that, my mistakes or things that happen in my life happen for good. It turned things around, and your outlook on life is different today. And I think that's good for every young person to hear, a young athlete to understand that, one, we make mistakes. One, we sometimes get caught up and have knee-jerk moments and think the grass is always green. We all do that. But the fact how you used it, that look at me now, right? Romans 8:28, and we know all things work together for good and the bad, for those that love God and those who are called. That's a good key word, called, according to his capital H purpose. And I'll leave you with that, man, and appreciate all you're doing and what you're doing right now as a father and a family, and just representing Christ in such a major way. And I think that's, to me, is bigger than any snap, any touchdown, because you're scoring touchdowns today in your life. And, man, I just want to say I appreciate that.
No, I appreciate both of you guys. Thank you so much for having me on today. It was a pleasure to be able to speak with you both. And I just wish you guys both success in life, and not only in this Miller's Edge too. So I appreciate you guys.
Man, Blake, we appreciate having you, man. Give Maddie and your family my best, and we'll have to do it again soon.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys.
All right, brother. Take care.